I'm one of these guys spends a lot of time reading this magazine. It's a music magazine called The Enemy, New Music Express. It comes out weekly. You see Oasis on the cover there. And one of the main reasons I buy this magazine is for their reviews. Certainly not for their features and the bands they select, because they're very biased to like who they want to push. For example, bands like Las Vegas and The Enemy, bands I don't get at all, to be honest. But in their review section, they do have, I have the mega sneezes there. They do indeed have a varied amount of reviews. Kings of Leon, Cold War Kids, good band. They also have McFly in here. Flowbots, don't know what they're about. Band I'm really interested in, a band I really like. TV on the Radio. They are proper awesome. But the review doesn't really say a lot about the actual album. It says about a guy that plays in them called Dave Sitek. He's also a producer. He's produced other bands such as Yeah Yeah Yeahs. He produced Scarlett Johansson's album and stuff like that. And it just says about how it's just a project for him, and this is what the album review's about. Fuck Enemy. Enemy, I don't know. It's all about image, isn't it? But yeah, I think I'm gonna do a little review on this new TV on the Radio album. It's called Dear Science. TV on the Radio, one of my favourite bands out the past 5-6 years. Because I do listen to a lot of new music, and a lot of music I find different to me. I don't see a band that I can compare with TV on the Radio. Hopefully you can hear a bit of them in the background playing as I do this review. Is to this album. This came out yesterday, and TV on the Radio are a band that have been known to kind of push their music in a different direction to where other bands go. I mean, for instance, for me, they have a sound that's soulful, atmospheric, rocking, experimental, tribal, euphoric, all of those feelings at once, and all of those textures and effects. They have this, and they're a band that use a vast array of instruments. I'm shouting there. There's a band that use a vast array of instruments and production techniques. For instance, on this first album, this is the third album they've done now. This first album of theirs, Desperate Youth, Bloodthirsty Babes, there's a track called Ambulance that is an a cappella track, and it's fucking awesome. It's literally all vocals, apart from kind of an oboe or a clarinet or something in it, and it's brilliant. And they're just real good, emotive, soulful bands. As for the album itself, it's probably the most instantly, I guess radio friendly, or more radio friendly than the other two would be a better word for it. They still retain their original whole sound, but there's parts of it that's more accessible. This one has a kind of driving beat. A nice big chorus there, see? See, it's got a euphoric feeling, and it's very channeling. It's just great. They use great range of sounds. This one, beforehand, Stoke and Owl. So you can imagine Dee and Tell, or Trent Reznor like doing a beat like that.
Faceless fall from this life, and oh, if you can't see the star, you've probably done to fall.
Great album, great album.
Boys that cry on the low.
That has a dark kind of sorrow feeling to it. The guy who writes lyrics, Tunde, like, it's great with words, and like you just pick out something different every time you hear him sing. So this pizzicato. Great stuff. There's like not a lot on here that's like driving in the same vein as like A Wolf Like Me from this album, Return to Cookie Mountain, or Staring at the Sun from this album. There are some like great beats. One of them, like it starts out with a full-on rap, dancing shoes, kind of like nice fuzzy moog bass line going on there.
He's a what? He's a what? He's a newspaper man, and he gets his ideas from a newspaper stand. From his boots to his pen, to his commentators' rants, he knows that any little article will do. The way he expresses some confusion about his part in the play, and he can't understand that he's not in command. The decisions underwritten by the cash in his hand. Bought a sweater for his wanna run it too. No, I'm no madman, but that's insanity. If we both feminine, when we both family, goes and shows up with more O's and more clubs and the rhyme and the laugh.
Great stuff there, like nice. So it's quite different from like the other two albums, like kind of dancey and kind of like very movement orientated. Where like, you know, on this one particularly, like tracks like Let the Devil In, like all based around a chant and like kind of a gospel-y, futuristic gospel is kind of how I'd say it is. Let's see what else is on here. Bit of funk guitar there.
Fuck your wall, 'cause I'm fat and in love, and no problems or fires, no need to show. But I'm scared to death that I'm living.
That's probably the most amount of spiky guitar I've heard on the TV and radio song.
Wide all these twin chops, the heads off the little things, while I'm cross. Left all rolls, I lay,
I wouldn't say there's anything quite as dark on here as like some of the tracks on the other two albums, but there's elements of both the other two albums that make them so great are like on here, but like in a more accessible feeling, whereas like, I don't know, there's less kind of tracks that are like over 5 minutes long, if you know what I mean, but like it makes for a very good album and it's like a fulfilling listen. And I definitely recommend TV to Radio, the band. If you haven't heard them before, like check them out, or even like just give this album a go. Like do whatever you can to hear them and go and see them live. 'Cause they're great. Like they're kind of innovators of their own sound. To be honest, I mean there's probably elements of like late 70s David Bowie and like Gary Newman and stuff like My Bloody Valentine and like a lot of like kind of, I don't know, with a bit hip hop beats in, like Jay Dilla style production. I recommend it. Now this is like my first album review, tell me how it goes, yeah? And I'd like to do many more in the future. So just let me know, or let me know what album you'd like me to review. Hope this is good. Cheers.